I want to talk about the short-term space a little bit because I think that is something that has really exploded in the last, like, since COVID, even before COVID. But where do you see, so I call them digital nomads, right? Yeah, they're traveling around. They don't really want to settle in their roots. Do you think that'll continue? Or tell me about that market.
So it's interesting, right? Because we have debates now where communities are saying we don't want any short-term rentals because short-term rentals drive up the rent price, right? Because the owner can make more money generally doing a short-term rental than they can on long-term rentals. And so therefore it prices the average person out with the ability to rent. So I understand that for sure. On the other side is our local small towns, right? If you start taking small towns like New Holland or where I live in Kent Square or these smaller towns, most of them, when you go back in time, were small industrial pads, right? Downingtown in Chester County had a paper mill. Kennett Square was focused on the mushroom industry and also had light manufacturing and things like that. That light manufacturing, people that lived in towns that worked in those industry, those jobs are gone, right? So what I believe, and again, I can be completely wrong. What I believe is that most of those small town America, and even up to the largest cities, that their next boom is really the travel industry, right? People want to leave the city, or they are, and they want to go to small town America, stay for the weekend in a nice, farthest place, and they want to cook a little bit themselves, but they want to sit on a couch and, and talk with their family without just going into a hotel room with a bed.
Right.
And then they can walk, specifically from my Airbnbs or my short-term rentals, they can walk to, 4 or 5 restaurants. They can drive a few minutes to Longwood Gardens and they can enjoy and explore the area. It's the same thing with Lancaster. I had a real desire to buy a short-term rental here where somebody wants a country retreat, right? I'd love to buy a ranch home that overlooks some farmland where people want to come. And what we hear, though, again, is some municipalities are pushing back, even my own, where I'm the mayor. We had, this pushback up, do you want to have transient people and not long-term people? I feel we need both, but the short-term rentals that bring in tourists support our restaurant industry, our small business, they are small, niche clothing shops and craft shops. Tourism, and we know here in Lancaster, is huge there, right? I mean, you have people come to Siviana, Shimon night, and their expectation is a slower life and, handmade things, beautiful goods, and homemade baked goods. People want to experience that. And so my message to communities that are pushing back on short-term rentals is to have a strategy where tourism becomes part of your economic boom, right? And use that to fuel all your entry-level jobs. The ones that used to be in warehouses or light industrial or those types of things,